Okay, we're going to be solving systems of equations by substitution. One of the things you might be aware, but might remember is, let me come down here and mark this up for you. We might have y equals 3x, okay? And if I tell you that x is equal to 2, and I tell you to tell me what y is, you know that what you should do is take 2, which it says x is, and plug it in for the x here. And then you would write y equals 3 times 2. You get y equals 6. That's called substitution. You substitute the value that you tell that x is for where x is in the equation. Well, you're going to be doing the same thing now, except you're going to be doing it with linear equations. Okay? So let's look at this one right here. I tell you that y is 4x minus 1. The same way that I told you down here that x is equal to 2. I'm telling you what y is. And instead of just a number like 2, I'm telling you that it's 4x minus 1. Now, with that 4x minus 1, I'm going to go to the other equation, and I'm going to replace the y. See, it tells me y is equal to 4x minus 1. And here I have a y. So I can put 4x minus 1 where the y is. So I got 2x plus 2 times, and instead of y, I've got 4x minus 1. Do you see how we did that? Right now it's just a matter of simplifying. So it's 2x plus 2 times 4 is 8, and 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. Then we combine the like terms. 2x plus 8x is 10x minus 2. To solve it now, we add 2 to both sides. That gives us 10x equals 5. We divide by 10 on both sides, and that gives us x equals 1/2. All right, now with that x equals 1/2, we've got 1/2 of our answer, because what else do we need? We need the y, right? We need to know what the y is, because we've got the x, so our answer is partially done. We've got 1/2, and now we need the y to complete our answer. So how do we get that? Well, we take the 1/2, and we go back up here to this original problem, y equals 4 times x minus 1. And instead of the x, I know what x is. It's 1/2. So I put 1/2 instead of the x. So that gives me y equals 4 times 1/2 minus 1. 4 times 1/2 is equal to 2. 2 minus 1 is equal to 1. So our solution is 1/2 and 1. Now how do I check that out? Well, I'll come over here to this 2x plus 2y equals 3. And I plug in the values that I got for x and y. I got 1/2 and 1. So I'll put 1/2 here and 1 there. So that gives me 2 times 1/2 plus 2 times 1. Gives me 2 times 1/2 is 1. 2 times 1 is 2. 1 plus 2 is 3, which means that we got the right answer. And we just verified that we had the right answer. All right, what about this one? Okay, y equals x plus 1, and 2x plus y equals negative 2. Well, the one that we're going to substitute is the y equals x plus 1, because it tells you what y is. So we come down here and we go 2x plus, and instead of y, we're going to put x plus 1 equals negative 2. So that gives us 3x plus 1 equals negative 2, which gives us minus 1 and minus 1. 3x equals negative 3. Divide by 3, divide by 3. That gives us x equals negative 1. So now I know what x is. I go back up here to the original equation, which is y equals x plus 1. And I plug in the value that we got for x. X is negative 1. So instead of x, I'm going to put negative 1. That gives me y equals negative 1 plus 1 is 0. So our answer is negative 1, 0. You see how we did that? All right, it's your turn. This time, it's a little bit different because it says x equals instead of y equals. That's no big deal. That means that instead of replacing the y, you're going to replace the x, right? Okay, so pause the video, do this one, and then come back to me and we'll see how you did. Okay, so we've got x equals negative y plus 8. So instead of the x, we're going to put negative y plus 8. A very important concept here is it says negative x. So when I replace the x, I'm going to be putting negative y plus 8. Negative y plus 8. That's what x is, and it's negative. Plus 3y equals 0. Negative, negative makes positive y. Negative, positive makes negative 8. Plus 3y equals 0. Did you start out right? Did you get this part? Y plus 3y gives you 4y plus minus 8 equals 0. Then we do plus 8 on both sides. That gives you 4y equals 8. Divide by 4, and that gives us y equals 2. Then we come back up here to the original equation, x equals, and instead of y we've got the negative sign. Instead of y we put 2 plus 8, x equals 6. So our answer is 6, 2. I hope that you got that. The tricky part was that first part when you're replacing the x because of that negative sign. Okay, so this one's a little bit different because it doesn't have something that says y equals or x equals. So we look in the problem here, and we see this one says y right here. And so if we did the other one up here, we would have to divide by negative 9 or divide by 5. So we're going to do this one because it's the easier one. All we've got to do is move the negative 2x by adding 2x right here and getting it away from that side. Add 2x to this side. And that gives us y equals 2x plus 4. So we've got y equals 2x plus 4. And we're going to take that 2x plus 4 and we're going to replace it up here in this equation where it says 5y. So we've got negative 9x plus 5 times 2x plus 4 equals negative 1. So we do our distributive property, and we've got negative 9x plus 5 times 2x gives us 10x. 5 times 4 gives us 20 equals negative 1. Negative 9x plus 10x gives us x plus 20 equals negative 1. Then we minus 20 on both sides, and we end up with x equals negative 21. So now we take that, go back to the original equation that we manipulated. Negative 2 times x, which is negative 21, plus y equals 4. That gives us 42 plus y equals 4, minus 42 on both sides, and that gives us y equals negative 38. So our answer is negative 21, negative 38. Okay, now we got solving substitution word problems. Nia's phone plan costs $42 per month plus 20 cents per text, and Rick's phone costs $45 per month plus 10 cents per text. What number of texts will their plans cost the same per month? Well, we've been dealing with an x and a y in every problem that we've done so far, and we've been dealing with two equations in every problem we've done so far. So we're going to be doing the same thing in this one. We're going to have an x, and we're going to have, that's not a good x. We're going to have an x, and we're going to have a y. The only question is what do the x's and the y's represent? And you're going to have two equations. Well, in here, we've got two equations that are easy to see. $42 per month plus 20 cents per text is one of them, and the other one is $45 per month plus 10 cents per text. Now, how do we make those into equations? we write it as it seems, $42 plus 20 cents per text. We don't know how many texts there are going to be. So when we don't know what it is, we let a variable represent it. So we'll let x equal the number of texts. So that amount, the $42 plus the amount you spend per text, equals the total cost, which will be y. So we do the same thing on the other one, 45 plus 10 cents per text equals the total cost. And remember, the total costs are going to be the same. It says, for what number of texts will their plans cost the same? So that means the total cost, y, and y will be the same thing. So now we've got y equals 42 plus 0.2x. We replace it here in this y. So we go 45 plus 0.1x equals, and instead of the y, we're going to put 42 plus 0.2x. We minus 42 on each side of the equation. You could have chosen to start out differently, but that's the way I started out. That gives us 3 plus 0.1x equals 0.2x. Now we minus 0.1x on both sides of the equation. And that gives us 3 equals 0.1x. We divide both sides by 0.1, and that gives us x equals 30. So what number of texts will their plans cost the same? For 30 texts is the answer.